See it played, Death Ride, Halfaya Pass. Okay, let's talk about line of sight. And in talking about line of sight here, I'm going to emphasize that I am going with the Death Ride Halfaya Pass rules as written and as, as out of the box. And I emphasize this because I have found, without going into details, the opportunity fire rules are actually substantially different here in Halfaya Pass as compared to what they become in the later Death Ride Kursk rules. Now, luckily it's not, well, actually, I was about to say luckily it's not that the rules were completely changed. So that's good, but what's not good is that the rules became narrower as opposed to the other way around. So that aside, yeah, I'm going to emphasize I'm talking about Halfaya Pass here rules because when it comes to line of sight, what's hard and fast is, first of all, friendly units never block line of sight. That's hard. Second, enemy trucks and half tracks do not block line of sight. What this means is, and by the way, the rules say trucks and half tracks. That's it. They must mean empty trucks and empty half tracks, I'm assuming. Wait a minute. Oh. Wow. And that's why I think these things through and think them aloud. Maybe that's not true. Maybe it is trucks and half tracks, regardless of whether they're loaded or unloaded. Because now I can see why. Okay, let's use the example. As a matter of fact, I'll grab this truck unit. Okay, so let's just say that, yeah, as a matter of fact, now let's discount range, because these German anti-tank platoons have a range of 5, but discount range, let's pretend they have unlimited range. So right now, yeah, I think it clips there. Well, let's just use another example. There we go. All right. Okay, so if this German anti-tank platoon wanted to fire on this British engineer platoon, that's what it wanted to do. As of now, it cannot do it because there's an enemy unit that blocks line of sight that is not a truck or half-track unit. It's an infantry company, dismounted. But if that, I guess, well, I mean, let me take trying to make sure I don't lose all my spots. So if there were just a truck unit there, what they're saying, and it makes perfect sense, that the German anti-tank platoon is looking out at these trucks, in this case empty trucks, sitting here in the middle of the desert, and they are clearly not going to consider that a threat in any sort of immediate way, to say the least. So they would fire right past it to a more important and more threatening target, potential target. So this unit can look past the trucks and fire on that target. Now, I was wondering if the trucks are loaded with infantry. Not even sure that's allowed, but let's just say it is. I thought that then the loaded infantry are, yeah, I thought that they were considered a potential threat, and so they would block line of sight. But actually, now that I see, they are not enough of a threat. So now I think it is. These trucks, even though loaded with all that infantry, are not an immediate threat enough to block line of sight. So still the Germans can look past. Okay, I guess that is. So, okay. So trucks and half tracks do not block line of sight. Okay, so what this means is that, for example, this unit on the edge there, this unit can fire at the engineers because it goes right past the infantry company there, Bravo company. But that same German unit could not fire at the headquarters because the line of sight hits the engineers first. So Germans here cannot attack the British headquarters there because their line of sight hits the engineers first. And finally, the significance of this is that, for example, this unit is going to spot for some field artillery. This unit can spot this target and drop indirect fire on the engineers. But importantly, again, that unit could not spot the headquarters unit to have indirect fire drop on the headquarters unit. That's how I put all the rules together. I hope that's correct, but that's how I put them together. Okay. So I thought I would go ahead and say something about this attack. So I had the anti-tank platoon there observe for the off-map, off-board artillery here, the 3 batteries. And they did target the British engineer platoon there, which is stacked with an infantry company. I did a quick check again. I still don't see how the attacker can't choose his own target in the target hex. So they rolled miserably. They rolled a 1, but that is still an S2. That will slow the engineers a bit, but what I wanted to point out, I hadn't yet realized this, but nowhere in the rules does it tell you actually how to use the off-board artillery. As a matter of fact, I'm not going to pick it up because it's underneath the plastic, and I'm not going to move the camera, but the only place where I see these 3 off-board artillery batteries is... How do I even know that these are the... How do I know that these are the... How funny. I don't even know how I figured out that these 3 are the ones that are actually off-board. But anyways, on the scenario card there is a small graphic box showing 3 generic artillery units, and it's labeled off-board. But when you go to the rules, I never saw anything telling you how to use them. Now, this isn't a criticism of the game, but this is I will emphasize again that this is why these Death Ride games can never be considered truly beginner games. These are war games for war gamers. These are war games for war gamers. War gamers who already have kind of the basics, so that, I mean, many players, including me, I didn't even think about the fact that I was just assuming everything here. I'm assuming that these off-board batteries can actually fire, that they can combine, and more importantly, I'm assuming that they can only use their primary long-range weapon. All of that's kind of logical, reasonable, conventional, but if you were brand new, you would be, I don't know how you would figure that all out. So yeah, just so 2 things. One, I'm assuming how all of this off-board artillery works, and again, these are not really beginner games in any significant way.